You're in your car, moving towards your house late at night. Perhaps the night is very beautiful, and the full moon shines bright. You're in a good mood, and just waiting to see your love after a long, busy day. Because of the good mood, you decides to surprise her with a bouquet. Everything is going smoothly, you're moving forward while enjoying the landscapes, when suddenly something huge at a high pace hits you. Before you could understand or do anything, the landscape changed for the one last time, and you found yourself underwater. Your car swiveled past a turn and zoomed past a ramp into a lake. Your car is drowning, and so are you. With your helpless eyes, you can see the bouquet you bought for your love going away from you with some energy left in you. You moved your hand in front in an attempt to hold the bouquet, but unexpectedly the broken glass pieces of the rear view mirror pierced in your skin. You can only see your blood mixing with the water of the lake while you're completely helpless. Your gaze is turning dark, and with the last pile of energy, you push the door of the car and tried to somehow swim. With all your might you move your hands and legs, but it's of no use. You close your eyes while thinking about only and only one person, your love. All hopes are lost, and the eyes shut without any confidence to open again. You fall on the surface of deep water helplessly like a lifeless body. This is what happened with the underworld's biggest name the following evening. Everything is justified here except one. How can someone dare to do this with the Queen of Hell, when SHS holds the power to kneel down the demon in front of her? The answers to the mystery were completely blank for the drowning soul. Hello 911, here near the Crimson Lake an accident has taken place. How many people are there, can you see and tell? The person from the other side asked. Can't say, I hope you will come fast, see ya. The call ends, leaving the person on the other side blank. Was that a prank, he thought for a second, but immediately pushed away his thoughts and sent his rescue team to the following location. Before the rescue team reached there, the same person who informed the rescue team about the accident was present there. He was dressed up in black, while his face was covered with a colored mask. If he wanted, he could easily rescue the victim, but his actions were indicating something else. He rested one leg on the crushed ramp and took out a deck of cards. I had thought I wouldn't give you a painful death, he said, but the audacity you showed. He closed his eyes, trying to calm his rage, but it didn't help him at all. With a sudden jerk, he opened his eyes and slammed his fist into the crushed ramp. How dare you come near my Lily? She is only mine, only mine. He screamed at the top of his lungs. I wanted to end you with my own hands, but time didn't allow it. Still, it doesn't matter. What I wanted is now going to be mine. He smirked and continued. Now begin your journey toward hell, while I begin mine toward my Lily. Remember me in your prayers, Elena Armstrong. He ended with an evil laugh and walked away. There was chaos everywhere in Elena's mansion. Karina paced restlessly from one corner to another, her phone pressed to her ear. How the fuck was Ma'am coming alone from the factory? Why didn't she have a single bodyguard or driver with her? She roared, while the staff listened to her scolding in complete silence. I swear, if anything happens to her, none of you will live to see the next morning, you idiots. She disconnected the call in fury and threw the phone onto the floor, shattering it into small pieces. Victor, who had witnessed everything, chose to remain silent. He, too, was devastated by the news. After all, everyone knew that even the cruel Mafia queen had a heart of gold. By providing free education and every luxury to her staff, she was always there for her people. Perhaps she never showed her emotions, but somewhere within that emotionless statue lived an innocent girl. And that was the very reason her staff respected her deeply and obeyed her unquestioningly. Hearing the sounds of chaos, Lily came down to the ground floor. Without thinking for a second, she mumbled, Hey Rat, what happened? Karina turned toward Lily in a swift motion, her eyes burning with rage, and shouted, Shut up, you. Before she could say anything further, Victor grabbed her by the shoulders to calm her down and said, We're needed elsewhere, let's go. Saying this, he dragged her out of the mansion and headed toward the parking area. Karina, who stood frozen like a statue in the hall, understood that something was terribly wrong. She looked around and asked one of the bodyguards what had happened. Lowering his head, the guard replied. The boss was returning home from one of her factories when she met with a severe accident. Time seemed to stop for Lily. It felt as if someone had stabbed her. The color drained completely from her face, and without a second thought, she ran toward the parking area. Karina and Victor were ready to depart, and behind them, 4 cars carrying the boss's security followed closely. They were about to leave when Lily suddenly opened the door of the car, where Karina and Victor were seated, and slid inside without saying a word. The convoy sped toward the scene of the accident. Lily stared blankly out the window, her face expressionless. Yet deep inside, a storm raged. She didn't even understand why she felt so shaken, but she knew she couldn't stop the surge of emotions rising within her. In no time, they reached the location. Lily stepped out of the car, and the first thing she saw left her completely stunned. The crane had just lifted Elena's car out of the lake, suspending it in midair. The front bumper was mangled, the headlights and grille crushed, and the windshield shattered, especially on the driver's side. Water dripped from the car, pooling on the road beneath. Lily swallowed hard, stepping back and leaning against the car she had arrived in for support. The flashing lights of the ambulance sirens cast an eerie glow over the scene, making the atmosphere even more haunting. Slowly, Lily turned her head to the right, and what she saw left her utterly shattered. She closed her eyes, gripping the car handle with white-knuckled tension. Her breaths came fast and uneven, forced through her mouth. She didn't understand why she felt so worried for the woman who had once kidnapped her, the woman she hated. Yet, in this moment, her emotions told her otherwise. She could have walked away from this hell and restarted her life, but she chose to stay. She didn't know why, but she wanted to remain for her rabbit and for her rabbit's sake. Summoning a small ounce of courage, Lily slowly stepped toward the stretcher on which Elena lay. Her head was bowed, unable to bear the sight of Elena in that condition. She stopped beside the stretcher and cautiously looked at Elena's face. Her hand flew to her mouth as her eyes welled up. Elena lay like a lifeless figure. Her face was pale, her forehead smeared with blood, and shards of glass embedded in her skin. Her right leg was bent, and one of the nurses was fastening a U-shaped metallic support beneath it, suggesting possible bone fractures. An oxygen mask had already been placed over her face, and the hospital staff were completing the final dressings before transporting her into the hospital. With trembling hands, Lily reached out and touched Elena's cheek. A stream of tears poured down her face, some falling onto her hand. She looked at her hand and noticed that her nails had turned purple as she clenched her fist. Slowly, she opened it and found a single petal resting in her palm. Confused, she stared at it for a moment before letting it slip from her fingers. Karina, who had been watching Lily from a distance, approached her and gently held her wrist. Lily looked up at her, and Karina murmured, "We're taking her to the underground facility of her private hospital. Her treatment will be done there due to security reasons. If you want, you can go back home." Lily met her gaze for a brief moment and said firmly, "I won't leave her alone." With that, she settled herself into the same ambulance carrying Elena toward the hospital. Meanwhile, somewhere, a sinister figure observed everything with satisfaction. "Now no one can stop you, Lily, from being mine," he thought, a smirk spreading across his face. "They say love and war both favor the victor, and here, both are mine. Such a sacrifice is necessary. The king has already been checkmated. Ha ha ha." With an evil laugh, he puffed on his cigar, watching as the ambulance disappeared from view.